Hey, how are you doing? And now we're gonna do custom pages for Pulsar. And the, to start, we need to know why we are making custom pages. These, with these pages, you can have like your own HTML components, and that components can have functionality, and you can use them online. It's very important because you can add functionality, especially functionality, and you can add an especially view. You can add the style that you want. You can modify everything in order to have some part of a process very stylish and functional. Now we are gonna present a problem with that we are gonna solve with the custom pages. Now, this is the problem that we're gonna solve with custom page. There are some people in Mexico that sell uniforms for students in elementary and middle school. These people need to go to every school, make a deal with the school, and take an order. And Mexico is big, and there are schools everywhere, even outside the cities, and there's even inside or outside there's not always Wi-Fi on these places or even phone signal, and that's why it's important to have to, to take notes of everything. That's why the actual process of the company is taking notes of every order in a notebook and every contact information from every school, and at the end of the day all the salesmen bring their notes to the boss. The boss see how the sales are going. This is not very useful, and it's better to have a custom page to help to make an order, to update a contact information, create a contact information, and refresh to one Salesforce org, and all the salesmen can upload their information there, and all the information can be together. It's important to say that this problem is a real problem that I have heard in here in the city in Mexico. Um, that's why this solution can even make this solution is gonna be real and it can be applied every time. Now that we have a problem, I'm gonna start with the solution. First of all, and I need to define in my objects, my software objects, and in this case I'm going to use two standard objects that are contact and product, and three custom objects that are school, school order, and uniform. I will explain this later when I start to work in the Salesforce org. But now I want you to know this because it's good for you to have this presentation from for the subjects. This is how it works in the contacts. In contact, you are gonna there is gonna be the contacts from every school that the salesman is going to visit. In the product, it's gonna be all the uniforms that the company sells, like shirts, pants, like blue pants, t-shirts, or white pants, every kind of uniform. In the custom objects, it's gonna be there is the school object. This school represents an abstraction of actual real school. It is gonna have like the address, the name of the school, uh, and some other stuff. The school order represents, like its name says, every order made by a school. It's all the things, all the uniforms that the school wants. You know, there is gonna be a relationship between these two objects, but I'm gonna show the relationship diagram later. And the uniform, it's gonna be a you're gonna understand this later, but uniform is like a middle object between the school order and the school, because and even with the product, in I don't want you to confuse. I'm not gonna explain uniform now like a lot. I'm gonna explain it later, but you need to understand now that there is a relationship between school order and uniform, and school order is made by many uniform objects. Now, as I have said, I'm showing the relationship diagram between the objects. The green lines are the lookup relationship, and the red one is a master-detail relationship. And as I have said, one school has one contact, one school order has one contact, one school order has one school to belongs to that order, and this is like the interesting relationship. One uniform object has one product. As I have said, a product means some specifically uniform that the company sells. For example, white shirts. A uniform object will have a relationship with a product. For example, uh, and one uniform object will have white shirts, and this object can also have another fields like quantity and the total and the size. And for example, one object that is uniform, one uniform object can have three white t-shirts in a small size, and that uniform object belongs to a school order. And a school order can have many uniform objects. That means that a school order can have like three white t-shirts and 10 blue pants in small size, 10 blue pants in medium size, and one school order is has a lot of uniforms, a lot of parts of this order. I'm gonna explain this later. This is only a brief introduction to it, but now we are gonna start. I'm gonna show what we are gonna do. I'm gonna show the application and how it's going to be accessed and how it's going to look like in the custom page in Pulsar. In order to have that in your head, we are gonna start making it. Now I'm gonna show that the final product, the final page that I'm gonna do here, in order you to understand what you are gonna do, and then I'm gonna show how to do it. This is how it's going to work. We're gonna get a school order object. Then we are gonna choose one record, and then down the screen there is a button, in the circle button, the blue one. That page will allow you to see our custom page or HTML that we're gonna make, and then I'm gonna push it. This is how this is gonna look like. It's gonna be a table with all the products. These products are records on the product object, and this will allow the solvents to add an an uniform object to that school order. Now I'm gonna show like the things that I have explained, but now with in real examples. And let's start with schools. You will see that there is already one example created, and that school is Miguel Hidalgo. And let's see how does it look like. As you can see, there is a form field, the number of students, and the address, like divided in many fields. This is how this is going to be. Uh, Now let's see the products. As you can see, there are already three products that the exact products that we have on the table. We have red shirts, white shirts, and blue pants. And you will, I think you can see that there is a product code for every product and another field that I'm gonna show you. I'm going to see one record in detail. Let's see red shirts. As you can see, there is a product name, product code, there is a price for that product, and you can say if that product belongs to a product family, and you can say this is active. Let's go to contacts, and this is like the regular contacts field. I think I only add some and one field, special field, but it's like the regular one, and you can see that there is three objects, like there is Bart Simpson that was the example in the last video, and this is important because this will be the person who represent the school. You don't sell to sell the uniforms to a school, but you need to have a name of that. Now let's see school order, and there is one school order. Let's see what's inside, and you will see that this school order is belong to a school, and that school is Miguel Hidalgo. It has a start day, it has a contact, status, and the total. The total field is a roll-up summary field from every uniform object that is related to that school order. Every uniform object has its own total, and this total, like the school order total, is a roll-up summary field from that get all the total from every individually uniform related and make summarize it. You will see that we can in the school we have the school order is related, and we can go to the school and see which school order and has that school, because there is a lookup relationship there. Now let's go to the uniform. I have said the uniform makes it's a little part of a school order, and a uniform is related with a product. Now, to simplify this, I'm gonna show the relationship between uniform and school order. I have said a uniform needs to have a product, that in this case the white t-shirt, and a quantity and a size, and this object will be related to the school order. You will see that, for example, this school order has 6 uniform records, and each record has the code, the product, the size, or the quantity. Each of these records has a price, and that price is there is a summary field from that price in the total. And it's important to say that in the uniforms, total is a formula between the quantity and the price of the product, and you will see that there is a relationship that's going to show you in this case. For example, the white shirt costs 200 pesos, and the quantity is 3, and that's why the total is a formula, and it's 3 is 600. And it's important to say that this is a formula, and there is another field that is hidden, that is the final price, because the total, you remember the total is a summary row out field, and this summary cannot be taken from the total of for that total field, because that total field for each uniform is a formula, and Salesforce is not allowed in Salesforce to have a roll-up summary field with a formula. That's why in each case has a hidden, in each object uniform has a hidden field called final price, that is a copy of the total. And I made a workflow, and every time that a uniform record is created or updated, that that workflow process copy the total to the hidden final price. That is the type of that hidden field is currency, and the total on the summary rollup field that is in the school order take the number from the final price, not for the total. And it's important to say that because this is like it was some limitation that Salesforce has, but I solved it in this way. But there can be another way maybe, but this is the way that I solved this problem. Hey, now I'm going to show the code. I'm going to explain how it works and the important thing of it. And first of all, you will see that this is only one HTML. Look, only one HTML. All the table that I have shown is only this file. In the start, like the regular HTML file with a doc type, it has the head tag, regular stuff inside, and the body tag. And it's important to say that here in the body there are two things. One of them is the title, like it says make an order, and it has a container. This container, the main goal of this container is, as its name says, to have and contain all the information on the table that that we are going to create, because the table is created dynamically and it's not already defined. I'm going to create it dynamically, and I needed a place to put the table, and that's why I had this div. And now this is how I'm going to explain. This is all the HTML part of the file. The other part of the file is CSS and JavaScript, and that's the important thing here. I'm going to show the JavaScript part. Let's jump into here to the script part. Now I'm going to try to explain as better as I can, and starting like line by line, sorry. And first we have two in the two arrays. This array is gonna help. They're gonna help in some time, but we are gonna need to have some information and to save some information I use later. That's why I'm gonna use that. First of all, we have this. This is the important stuff here. We cannot connect Pulsar to Salesforce to the page. The connection is not automatically. We need to define some variable and some function of that variable in order to connect the page with Pulsar and with the database. It's important to say that Pulsar has a database, a local database. I think it's Mongo. I don't remember, but I know it's my SQLite, SQL, SQL Lite, I think, and all the information is there. We need to make, and Pulsar works with a bridge. We need to make a bridge between the HTML page and Pulsar, and that bridge has two sides, like that. Here we are in with this variable. We are creating the part of the bridge with the HTML file side. This is on the documentation is the same that the documentation. As I say, this is a simple example of the power of Pulsar and the custom page, and this is a simple example. You will see that the important thing here is that you need to this variable bridge needs to have two methods, that is send request and init. Send request is, as its name say, you use this function to send a request to something. For example, you need to use in this function when you want to get something, some information, you want to create some record, you want to take some record, you want to delete some record. And it's very easily, you need to define this here, because almost all the important thing that we are gonna do is with this function. The other function is init. Init, as its name say, initialize the bridge. And it is also, I put it like the documentation said, and the only important thing here is that this function is gonna help us to initialize the bridge from the JavaScript part. Now, this is very important. We need to, because when the HTML page is connected, we need to make sure that everything is done before starting creating stuff or updating records. We need to make sure and be completely sure that the bridge is ready. And this is what it does. The document advent listener, we add a listener, and we say when the bridge is ready from this part of the pulsar, let us know. And when that is ready, like the pulsar part is ready, everything is connected, everything is ready, and it says to us that it's ready, and we need the JavaScript part of the bridge. This is very important. And here, when we need the other part of the bridge, I put an alert there. There already been an alert there, and here is where all the stuff that, or particular stuff that we want to do, is going to be. And I made a function here that is printable. The sequence is the bridge part of the bridge, and the pulsar part of the bridge is ready. Then our part is ready, make an alert, and then print the table. Now let's go to see what is inside of the print table function. Okay, this print table in general is going to create a dynamically table that we have seen. It takes all the product that is in the org and put it with all the information, put it in the table, and it also allow to the user to create a uniform record, because you know that the uniform record needs some information like size and the quantity, and it also needs a product. That's why we get the product, and we are going to create a uniform record with the product of that row. First of all, we are going to need to we call this function get size, and we are going to go there to see what's inside. This was good for us because I want to explain how the request stuff works first. We have a little function here that we're going to help us to understand it. You remember that we create a function that is called send request. Now we are going to use it because, as you should know, that I have said it to you that the uniform record has a pick list, and that pick list is a size. It's the extra, the small, medium, large, extra large, etc. And now we need, because we need to print that option, that pick list, we need to have a pick list on every row of our table to choose the size of the uniform, the record that we are going to create. We need to get all the pick lists with this way. We are getting all the pick list values that we have. And at the beginning, I remember that I did this like I made a regular pick list and I put the options, like I write the option, but that's not right, because it's better to have all the pick lists here, because if we add a pick list on our Salesforce org, and this function is going to get all of them. Now you remember that the branch request has two. One, this parameter that is the request. This is a variable that has this in order to get a pick list, it needs to have this form. but we are going to see later that if we want to to send another time request, the structure can change. Now I'm gonna show that all of this stuff is on the documentation, and it's very easy to understand. You only need to to read it, and it's already here. I'm going to show you on the screen. It's already here. It helps you to get started, to initialize, and it gives you the type of message or the structure of the message. As you can see, we are getting the pick list, and we are not getting a regular message like a regular object. We are getting a pick list option, only that option, and that's why we got here the that's why we got here the type of message. And as you can see, you want to get a pick list. Sorry, we need to put and get pick list and the type. We need to specify which object and you want to get the pick list, where in which object and the pick list is. And this is not as important. And we need to specify the field name. And this case is size. We got the message here, and we pass it as a parameter of the function, and we get a callback with all the results of the, because here we are getting the pick list. All the results of the values of the pick list is on results, on the value on the variable results. Now we have this implementation, and this is only to to know if there's see if the pick list that we are looking for it's already there or there's error. We put this if option, and if everything is okay, like there are right results, we have two options. We can save the values of the pick list in an array, or we can save the labels. In this case, I'm safe to and but I'm only using the values. Do you remember that there were a size array variable in at the beginning? I'm using that variable and saving. I'm saving the values. This is an array. I'm saving the values of the pick list in this array. I'm gonna use later, and this is how it works. Now we have the size. We're gonna come back here. Now we are going to get all the types, all the products, sorry, that we're going to print on each row of the table. And you must remember that we are printing the code, we are printing obviously the name, we are printing the price. And this is the structure of a message in when you want to have a CRUD operation with a regular, a custom, or a standard object, not a pick list. We need a type. In this case, we are getting the products, and we put select. We specify that this is the object, and we put a query. This is the query that helps us to get the information that we need. This is important. It's in documentation. It's over here. The documentation also say to you how is their response, and if it's successful, what happened, and if it fails, what happened. And there are examples and some stuff that can help. Now, and we have in this variable request, we have all the products that is on the Salesforce org, and we added, um, we made the same in the send request. We send the request, we get information in response data variable, and now in this variable we have all the products. Now the next stuff that I did is that I create the table dynamically. Is this JavaScript stuff is very easily. And now first I get the container, then I create a table, then I put some attributes to the table that I just create, then I add the titles. I add the tr tag, then the td, and I add all the titles that the table will have, the product code, the price, the size, the quantity, and the message that add to the order. And now here is the title. It's not created dynamically, obviously, for obvious reason is the text there. This is the regular stuff to append and to use nodes, using nodes in JavaScript. Then now I make a for loop with the size of response data. I'm making here for every product I'm going to print a row in the table. That's why I'm using this for. First of all, because as I'm saving all the IDs in this array named product ID, I'm saving all the IDs because I'm gonna use it later. I'm gonna show why, but this is important. This is how you can have access to the information. You need to put obviously the name of the variable. When you save, you have all the results. You need to put dot data. Then you remember that the variable it's an array. All the products in this case is saved in an array, and that's we need to access a suffix with an index here, and then the name of the field that we want to get. This is very important. We are going to use it later, this structure. Now I'm going to create inside this I'm going to create the elements of each row. First of all, create this tag. I add an attribute, and this is important because before I add an ID that is created with a string plus the index, I add this to all the elements because because when I push the button, I'm going to need to get all the elements from that row, and that's why my way to solve that problem. When I get the button, I am going to know which button I push, and with that ID of that button, I'm going to get all the things on that row because I have the ID here too. This is very important, and you will see that I did that many times. Here, that what I say is the same as the titles, but I add dynamically this, and this make that put the name of create an element and put the name there, and then I did the same with the product code because it's text. I only need to get access to that field in the response data. I print the name, the product code, the price, and now this is kind of different. because the price is not something that I'm printing. The size, sorry, is is an input field. Here I create it differently, and I create an element like that type of element, an input. I did the same with the attributes, with the ID, and for this case I add a class too with this name. And sorry, it's not an input, it's not an input, it's pick list. This is the size. You remember that we get all the sizes, and here's why this is why we needed that sizes, because I create this pick list, and with this for I you remember that all the sizes I saved it here. I made this for loop in order to add any option adding to the pick list that I'm making. That's why I'm doing here. I add the option and I get to the all the arrays that I get from Salesforce. The quantity, and this is an input. This was the input field. Remember, here is the input. I made the same with the ID. I add a placeholder. I define the type like text. It's the same, the regular stuff. Now I add the bottom. It's the same, only different that I create a bottom. I specify the class, an ID, and here is something very interesting, because you know that I need to add some functionality to the bottom. I solved that problem with those couple of lines. I define an onClick function, and when every time that a button is pushed, it calls to this function called create, and the parameter of create is the button that was pushed. And you will see that um, after that is the same stuff. We put everything together and create that button. You will see that that's everything on the function print table. Now we are going to go to the create function. Here is where the functionality that create a uniform object and related to the school order is written. This is where the magic happens here. Now let's go to create. It's here. And what we do here in create is, first of all, you remember that this variable is the button that was pushed, and you remember that every ID is made by the string plus the index. That means that every button has a different index, and every button has a different name. Here we get the index, all the index of the button that was pushed, and then we separate the string part from the number. And now we have in this variable we have the index of the button that was pushed. Here we have a number like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., etc. This will be very helpful, because with this number we have the row. We can with this number we can get all the information of that row, of the row with the bottom, where the button was pushed. We are doing that here. We start to get some elements. Here we get the pick list and get the selected index from that pick list. Here we get the quantity. You know that you can see that we are accessing the quantity with the string plus the index of the row. We are getting the product. We get the here is something that we are going to need. It's important to say that you remember that we are accessing all this page from an specific record, and specifically school record. In the example, I think was A001. That is helpful. That's helpful because when we are accessing from that specific record, we are getting the ID of that record. We don't need to um, to say to the user that to say to the user to manually define which record you want to allow in this uniform object. We don't have the necessity to do that because there is a way to put this without a related record to get to the page in the main front page from Pulsar, and in that case the user will need to specify which record we want to relate with this uniform. But in this case it's not that case. um, that's why this is it makes everything easily. But we know that we have the idea of the record, of the school order record, but we need to get to do some stuff to get that number, that records, but ID, sorry. And we are using this function that is called get query variable. It's here. This is already on the documentation from Pulsar. Is here. Is over here. I remember. Is here. We are getting the record ID from the HTML. Sorry, is there here. And this was made by Pulsar. I didn't make any change here, but you pass this variable. That this variable is you shouldn't change this. Is always needs to be the same, and this function will return the ID of the record, that in this case the school order record. Now in order to finish, we are going to create the uniform from the row that we push the button with the information of that row. We define the message with a create type. We say that it's a uniform object, and we pass the fields that we need to create that uniform. We define that the size is in this variable. The school order is the object ID, the school order ID that we pass through the HTML. The quantity is in the quantity variable. The product ID is in the product. That's why we need to remember that we save all the product IDs. That's why we are using this. Now we are getting the product ID from this array, and that's why we save it. We define it here, and we save all the products ID in the same order. And where is it? Here I could find it. Where is it? Here we save all the products ID. That's why we needed that, because it's our way to, in that array it was safe, and it's our way to get that ID, that is the product ID that is in the same row. Now that we define the request, we send the request. I add an alert. Now this is all the JavaScript stuff. Now we're gonna show that the CSS part. This is like the regular stuff. I define a font color, a font family. I define the borders, the backgrounds. This is regular stuff. You can change everything if you like, or if not, if you don't like, you can change the colors, the letters. Now that the code is ready, we need to make the connection between the pulsar and the page, and we need to say to the pulsar where is the page and when do we want to have access to the page. Because that, we are going to go to the file. We need to upload the HTML in a file. We need to go to files. We need to go to libraries. I create a new library that is called Pulsar. Inside Pulsar, you will see that I upload the index file. It's important to do this, but it's also important to get some information from that file. That's why you need to get the ID of the file. Following these steps, in the URL, you will see that there is an ID, and you need to select and copy that ID of the file, because we are going to use that to say to Pulsar where is the file and which file we want to use. This is very important. Remind to keep that ID safe, because we're going to use later. You should remember that we are working with Pulsar setting objects. We are going to create a new one. In this case, I already created. I made this is school order connection. This is an example of a way to connect the page with Pulsar. You can see here that is documented the way that you can do this. Let me find this. It's here. And is over here. Here it says how to do it, and I'm gonna explain it too. But you should know that it's on the documentation too. Let's see. You will see that there is a Pulsar setting name. This is the regular stuff. There is a key. That key needs to have that structure, the Pulsar layout, then the object, and the dot list. And there is a value too. The value needs to paste the ID from the file, and that's it. That's how you connect the file with Pulsar. And we have another stuff here, another Pulsar settings. You can add it to it. It will make Pulsar better. We have sync option. This, for example, this Pulsar setting allows you to, every time that you upload a new file or update the file that you already have in Salesforce, it is download in Pulsar automatically download for you. You don't need to go to the files and push the button download. This do it automatically. That's the kind of thing that you can add to Pulsar. Have another stuff. Auto sign interval, and that's it. Now that everything is ready, let's make a demo. I'm gonna turn the internet off. I'm gonna do it offline. Let's put everything ready. Okay, let's go to this school order, to this record, and push the button. Let's see. You see we have everything, and let's create another uniform. Sorry, this large. Let's add 6 white t-shirts that size large. Push the button, and everything is safe. You will see the number 1 in the record was saved correctly, and let's turn the Wi-Fi on and sync. Let's wait. See, everything is done. And you will see that the total change, and there is another uniform object related, and it's large. Is that white t-shirt large quantity 6 of the quantity. You'll see that it's done. Everything is okay, and now we are going to see if everything is okay in the Salesforce org, when that we are going to go there with Safari, and let's see if everything is already of the cloud. Now let's see if the record that we create is here. Let's go to school uniform, and with the order, let's find the uniform object, and it's there at the bottom of the list. Is the record that we just create offline. It's there, and let's see the total, and the total has changed. And that's it, and this is how it works. If you have any doubt or something, let me know. Thank you. You will see that you have seen that this is easy. Thank you for watching, and see you later.